Hi, so today I'd like to examine the pose legs up the wall. For most of us, this is a go-to pose for relaxation and for calming the nervous system. It could be for headache relief or fatigue relief, insomnia relief. There's a lot of benefits to this pose, but what I'd like to talk about today are there different options and why you would choose one option versus another. So I'd like to start with the most accessible option of legs up the wall and then progress through two other options that are a little bit more challenging. So I'd like to start with a legs up the wall option if there's a situation that makes it difficult for you or the student you're working with to get close to the wall. Maybe they've never done anything like this before, and mobility is a little bit of an issue. There could be extra weight that they're lugging around that they're not used to. This is really common for folks who are undergoing certain cancer treatments. Suddenly the body changes a lot. So rather than, get close to the wall, fail, come out, try to get close to the wall, fail, come out, rather than going through that cycle over and over again, which can be a little disheartening, what I've found that works really well is to get a nice stiff bolster, place it between the person's rear end and the wall, essentially moving the wall closer to them, and then just allowing them the opportunity to rest their feet on the bolster. And it looks a little bit like this. So depending on the person's length of leg, their height and everything, they may get the heels right on the end of the bolster, or they might just rest their calves. And this gives them an opportunity to feel that sense of support that the wall provides without having to finagle getting the body closer. You'll notice that I'm not at a 90-degree angle, but I'm still getting a lot of flow, venous return flow, with the legs elevated above my heart. So this is a really nice way to have an experience of it if you're teaching a class and you have a group of students and you don't want to embarrass anybody who's struggling to get close to the wall. You just pull out a bolster and give them this option. This is also the option I use in the middle of the night when the insomnia takes over and I don't want to wake up my husband. So you just throw the bolster up against the headboard and nobody gets disturbed. Okay? So another option is for somebody who can get close to the wall, but the extension through the legs is really prohibitive. Maybe they're really tight through the backs of the legs, and having to have the legs there at the wall, even with the knees bent, creates a bit of a struggle. We don't want anybody to struggle in this pose. We really don't. That defeats the whole purpose and the whole point of relaxing in this pose. So if that's the case, then you would tip the pelvis up. So I'm going to get rid of my big bolster here. And I'm going to bring in a folded up blanket. I'm going to tip my pelvis up like I'm doing a little baby bridge pose and set the blanket on top, set my rear end on top of the blanket so that when my legs go up the wall, there's a bit of a pelvic tuck, right? I'm not doing dog pose. It's more like cat pose. And this will relieve a bit of the tension on the backs of the legs. So if hamstrings are an issue, maybe you're recuperating from a tear or a strain in the hamstring, or maybe you're just built really tight. this can be a nice way to do it. And you can get closer to the wall. I'm not demonstrating that today, but you can get closer to the wall, and this will work. So this is a little bit of a scoop of the pelvis, and it gives some relief from that big stretch. Okay, so that's option 2. And then the third option is with the tilt of the pelvis, where we are going into more of a cow pose or a dog tilt. Now, for the reason why I would want to do that is if I am interested in stretching out or cooling off the area of the abdomen, right? So if I've got someone who is kind of compact and maybe they've got some digestion issues, or maybe they're healed up from a surgery but they've got some scar tissue here, this is a really great way to help to start to spread this area and create an opportunity for the heat or for the tension in this area to release. So it does require some flexibility, and it also requires setting up the prop properly. So I'm going to come out of this pose here so we can all start together. And the folded blanket that I have, it's one of these S folds, and I'm going to set this blanket not right up against the wall, a little bit of space. So maybe, you know, the width of one of my hands between the wall and the fold of the blanket. And the reason why is I want my tailbone to be closer to this valley here between the prop and the wall. That's going to allow me to rotate the pelvis in a way that stretches open the belly. Okay? So then once I have that set up, then I'm going to come to my side. My hip is smushed right up against the wall, and I'm right at the end of my blanket fold, and then I'll lay down and roll to my back and kind of position my tailbone into that valley and my legs up the wall. And I don't know if you can see that tilt that happens, right? If I'm back here, I have the tuck, and things in my abdomen are a little bit squished. So that would create some heat in my abdomen. If I have my tailbone towards the wall, closer towards the wall in that valley, then I have more of a arched shape, almost like a bridge pose or a cobra pose, like a little baby back bend. And then my legs rest up against the wall. I can do variations with the legs, but I still have this broadening across the belly because of the tailbone into the valley there. Okay? So choose your pose wisely and enjoy it. Make sure that you're feeling a sense of ease in the pose, not tension. If there's tension, then go back through your options, right? There's 108 ways to do every single pose, so keep playing with it. And thanks for checking this out. Namaste.